Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's The Marvels of the Heart, Kitab Sharh Ajaib al-Qalb. This is book 21 of Ihya Ulumuddin, the revival of the religious sciences, of the Islamic sciences, translated by Walter James Skelly. We have reached chapter 9. This is page 57. An exposition of the difference in rank between the two positions by a tangible example. بيان الفرق بين المقامين بمثال محسوس. اعلم أن عجائب القلب, know that the wonders of the heart are outside the realm of things perceived through the senses. مدركات الحواس. For the heart is also beyond sense perception. The understandings are too weak to grasp, except by means of a tangible example, that which is not perceived through the senses. So we shall explain this to people of weak understanding by means of two examples. For the first illustration, let us suppose that a reservoir is dug in the earth, into which the water can be conducted from the surface above through streams which empty into it. The bed of the reservoir may also be dug up and the dirt removed from it until the fountain of pure water is reached. And then the water bursts forth from the bottom of the reservoir. The water is purer and more constant, and perhaps more copious and abundant. The heart, then, is like the reservoir, and knowledge like the water. The five external senses are like the streams. Knowledge may possibly be conducted to the heart by means of the streams of the senses, and the consideration of things observed until it is thus filled with knowledge. It is also possible to stop up these streams from flowing into the reservoir by solitude and seclusion, and averting the eyes from seeing, and then to resolve in the depths of the heart to purify it and remove from it the layers of veils until the fountain of knowledge bursts forth from within. A beautiful image that knowledge, the sensibles, that is acquired through these five senses, being like for rivers, for streams, for channeling knowledge to this reservoir of the heart. But there is then it's beautiful that the how Imam Ghazali uses this image of the heart as a reservoir, that either you get the water from without or from within. You still need to cleanse the heart, to cleanse the reservoir, in the language of Al-Ghazali, until it bursts forth with knowledge. But if you say, how can knowledge burst forth from the heart itself while it is destitute of it? Know that this is one of the wonders of the heart's secrets. It is not permissible to deal with it in the knowledge of proper conduct. This is ilm al-mu'amala. This much, however, can be mentioned, that the real natures of things are written down in the preserved tablet, Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, and indeed in the hearts of the angels who are brought near to God. If every knowledge comes from an outside source, where did we get all this knowledge about the universe and other in specialized areas as well? Astrophysics, but also chemistry and physics and math. And if you are stuck with the knowledge of um, primitive. And primitive, I don't mean people who are not Homo sapiens. And I'm using this category because that's what people are using, not alluding to anything before that. But definitely the knowledge that existed before is rather simple. I'm not talking about revelation. When the Prophet ﷺ, made mention of the fact that they were pretty much an illiterate community. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's a permanent description attribute of the community forever. It means it was simply a description of that phase of Islamic history. And for all people, illiteracy is a negative thing. You cannot think why one should be illiterate, except in the case of the Prophet ﷺ. It is the fact that he could not read or write meant simply that this miracle of the Quran could not be attributed to a human source that the Prophet ﷺ, he himself compiled from different books, from different sources. And I more than once there is a scholar, a non-Muslim scholar. More than once, an American, I heard him saying he knows that thus far there is no record of any translation of the Torah into Arabic at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And more than once, in more than one lecture and I watch him uh, on YouTube. His interviews, and he keeps saying that, but there must be a translation. He knows academically that there isn't. There's no record of that, and he keeps saying there must be, and he's alluding to the possibility that the Prophet ﷺ copied from that source. Well, so going back, why this idea of that that we began as humanity with simple knowledge, scientific knowledge, if you will, and now look at this phase of human history where you cannot even keep track of, even if you want to, of all the scientific discoveries and innovations and developments in the sciences, even if you are specialized, even within your own field. Okay. So to step outside, like in the structure of scientific revolutions, on Thomas Kuhn's structure of the scientific revolutions, you step outside the paradigm that in one particular field, and then you arrive at a new knowledge, and it's not something that is outside. One might say it's an insight. Okay. insight. But still, you talk about the the human being, the heart in this case, which Imam Ghazali refers to the heart also as the intellect. For just as an architect, if we continue reading, for just as an architect draws plans for buildings on blank paper and then brings them into actuality in accordance with the archetype, the nuskha, thus the creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala, of the heavens and the earth, wrote an archetype of the world from beginning to end, from beginning to end upon the preserved tablet, and then brought it into actuality in accordance with that archetype. From the world which has been brought into actuality in the image of the archetype that is transmitted to the external senses and the retentive imagination, khayal, still another image. For whoever looks at the sky and the earth and then closes his eyes, sees in his imagination the image of the sky and the earth, so that it is as though he were looking at them. And were the sky and the earth annihilated, and he himself remained, he would find within himself the image of the sky and the earth, as though he were beholding them and looking at them. Then, from his imagination, an effect is transmitted to the heart, so that there is represented in it the real natures of things that have entered into the sensation and imagination. The representation in the heart corresponds to the world that is represented in the imagination, which in turn corresponds to the world as it exists in itself, external to the imagination and heart of man. This existing world corresponds to the archetype existing in the preserved tablet. Thus, the world has 4 degrees of existence. It's as if thus the world, no, it should be as if the world has 4 degrees of existence. فكأن للعالم 4 درجات في الوجود. There's existence in the preserved tablet. This is prior to its corporeal existence, the jismani. Its real existence follows this, and it is followed in turn by its imaginative existence, khayali, by which I mean the existence of its image in the imagination. Its imaginative existence is followed by its intellectual existence, by which I mean the existence of its image within the heart. Can we say that the ontological existence is the second one? Okay. ويتبعه وجوده الحقيقي. Because the third and the fourth, it's difficult not to think of them as two different existences, if you will, in the mind. At any rate, this is why you say فكأن. It's not thus. فكأن للعالم 4 درجات. Okay. We'll continue reading from where we have stopped. Some of these orders of being are immaterial, ruhaniya, and some are corporeal. Of the immaterial, some are immaterial in their order of being other than others. This is a kindness, lutf, coming from the divine wisdom. For God has made the pupil of your eye in such a way that, in spite of its smallness, there is pictured within it the image of the world, the heavens and the earth, with all their widespread extent. Then it goes on from existence in the realm of sensation to existence in the imagination, and from it to existence in the heart. For you can never apprehend anything save that which has reached you. And were it not that He has placed an image, mithal, of the whole world within your very being, you'd have no knowledge of that which is apart from yourself. Glory belongs to Him, unto Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has ordered these wonders of the heart and eye, and then blinded the heart and eye to the perception of them, so that the hearts of the majority of creatures have become ignorant of themselves and their wonders. Let us now go back to intended purpose and say, it is conceivable that the real nature of the world might be represented in the heart, its mental image coming now from the senses and again from the preserved tablet, even as is conceivable that the image of the sun should be represented in the eye, coming now from looking directly at it, and again from looking at the water on which the sun shines, which reproduces its image. So, whenever the veils are lifted between the heart and the preserved tablet, the heart sees the things which are therein. The knowledge bears forth into it therefrom, so that it does not have to acquire knowledge through the avenues of the senses from without. This is like the bursting forth of water from the depths of the earth, whenever the heart becomes occupied with things in the imagination derived from the sensibles, mahsusat. This veils it from examining the preserved tablet, just as when water is collected from streams into a reservoir, it is thereby prevented from bursting forth from the earth, or just as he who looks into the water that reproduces the image of the sun is not looking at the sun itself. Thus, the heart has two doors. One door opens toward the world of spirits, Alam al-Malakut, which is the preserved tablet, and the world of the angels, Alam al-Malaika. The other door opens on my own, just simply to. There is definitely another dimension. There is definitely another dimension because and Imam Ghazali refers to this because he often, more than once, speaks about the one's sight becomes keen at the moment of death. That dimension becomes accessible. That's Alam Malakut. The other door opens toward the five external senses that are tethered to the visible material world. This visible world also resembles the world of spirits to a certain extent. Now, the fact that the door of the heart is opened to the acquisition of knowledge through the senses is a thing you understand, but regarding its door that opens to the world of spirits and is able to see the preserved tablet, you have certain knowledge through meditating upon the wonders of dream visions, ru'ya, and the heart's observation in sleep of what will be in the future or what was in the past, without any acquisition on the part of the senses. That door, however, is opened only to one who devotes himself exclusively to the remembrance of God, the Exalted. Here we have a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said, men of a single thought have taken the lead. He was asked, O Messenger of God, who are they? He answered, those who are devoted to the remembrance of God, the Exalted. For this remembrance, dhikr of theirs, He put away from them their load of sin, and they come to the resurrection unburdened. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم سبق الفردون قيل ومن هم الفردون يا رسول الله قال المتنزهون بذكر الله تعالى وضع الذكر عنهم أوزارهم فوردوا القيامة خفافا. The first part is the hadith of narrated by Imam Muslim, so it is Sahih, of course. The second part, beginning for this remembrance. So those who are devoted to the remembrance of God, the Exalted, until here. So to begin with, men of a single thought have taken the lead. Men of a single thought, basically, this is in brackets. So practically in Arabic, literally, men of a single. But in English, you have to put something. So the translators put the word thought. Have taken the lead. So he was asked, O Messenger of God, who are they? He answered, those who are devoted to the remembrance of God, the Exalted. So until this particular point, this is the part, the first part that is narrated by Muslim. The second part is weak. There's a kind of an addendum to this hadith. There's a hadith, the part which is it's a hadith Qudsi, and inshallah all these we'll go back to this hadith, the original, the second part which is weak, and then the hadith Qudsi, which is God speaks in the first singular, and there are certain parts that are they are definitely there are two parts that are weak, and I think I should shed more light on all of these at the beginning of the next session, inshallah. So we'll let's conclude by saying the first part. Men of a single thought have taken the lead. He was asked, the Prophet ﷺ, O Messenger of God, who are they? He answered, those who are devoted to the remembrance of God, the Exalted. So we stop right here, and we'll continue, inshallah, at the beginning of the next session. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.